Well, hello and welcome to Castle Park at Doncaster on what is a gloriously sunny Yorkshire afternoon for the second match in the Women's Quilter International Series for the Red Roses, taking on Canada. It's become one of England's old foes over the years. We're live on the englandrugby.com website, of course, on the official Facebook channel and on YouTube as well. Thank you very much for tuning in and joining us. And as we see the teams arriving a little earlier and beginning to go through their warm-ups, it is good to see England. We're a little later in arriving. But this afternoon, well, I'm the thorn aside two roses because, well, we were such a successful broadcasting trio a year ago. It's taken them that long to get us back together. Two Rugby World Cup winners alongside me, Olympians as well. It's a very good afternoon to Natasha Hunt and Emily Scarratt. How are we?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Very well, thanks, Nick.
Good.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, it is indeed. Great to have you both here. So, England, we know they thumped the USA last week in that first Quilter International while handing debuts to 6 new faces. Natasha, Lucy Atwood's one of those new faces that's given a start this week. And we've also got the likes of Rachel Burford, Sarah Hunter and Marley Packer coming back into the lineup. So there's some decent experience to take on these Canadians.
Yeah, decent experience, but you mentioned the 6 debuts. They were absolutely on form last week. It was so exciting to see them get their first caps and to do it in such style. Lucy Atwood has been brilliant for Bristol this season. As you mentioned, the experience coming back. Rachel Burford, one of the best passers in the women's game. Sarah Hunter, always a calm head at the back of the scrum and across the field. So they're definitely not lacking experience this week.
No, and in terms of the Canadians, of course, after 2017, there was that period where, well, when they came over and played their game here, of course, that 3-match series, it wasn't the most flattering of scorelines for Canada, largely because a lot of those players from 2017, it's the amateur era for a lot of these women still. They've got to go back to their clubs, back to their jobs. So it's largely a sabbatical for them. So, Emily, they bring 11 players with Rugby World Cup experience, but 4 that featured in that final in Paris in 2014 that you scored in, I can mention, of course. Elisa Allery, Magali Harvey, Laura Russell and Olivia de Merchant.
Yeah, they've got some really experienced girls. As you say, you know, when you've been performing on a stage such as a World Cup, you bring a huge amount of experience and knowledge to a side, but they've also got a really nice blend of some inexperienced girls, some girls we've not seen before, some girls on debut. So yeah, look, we've spoken about the weather here today. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. The track looks great, so I'm really hoping that, you know, their strong forwards can release those backs and really let them showcase what they're capable of. Yeah,
you popped out earlier and had a little test, a bit of a Geoffrey Boycott with the key sort of on a cricket field. It's looking good, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks amazing. You know, we're both backs. That's all we want to see is a beautiful kind of surface that you can run along, that you can, you know, kick the ball down. And yeah, as I say, the sun's out. It's no better day.
Yeah, and we know also that the former England women's forwards coach Graham Smith is tuning in from coaching down in Barcelona. Graham, great to have you with us. We are also looking forward to Emily applying her knowledge to the scrum a little bit later, having two backs here. So we can continue our build up to kick off here and set the scene a little more with this O2 Inside Line preview.
Canada are a very physical side, they're very athletic. We know that they've got threats all over, so we really have to be on point to make sure that we're in the game and we take the game to Canada. This series is about trying to find out where the squad's at. Whoever comes in will really add value to the shirt, and no doubt they'll go out and put a strong performance to back up performance from America last week.
Great to hear Sarah Hunter talking about how it all started for her. It seems that she was involved in every sport, bit of rugby league, bit of football as well. How did rugby start for you guys?
So I first started when I was 5. I've got an older brother who was playing down at Leicester Forest East Rugby Club. So just started there, but a little bit like Sarah, I played loads of sports when I was growing up as a kid and at school. So yeah, very sporty family.
Good.
Yeah, and for me, a little bit different. Played a bit for Drybrooke Rugby Club when I was back in the day, but netball was always my main sport. So started playing properly when I was about 17, joined Malvern Angels, managed to get into the under-20 setup then, and so never really looked back.
There we go, excellent stuff from Emily and from Mo, who I'll be referring to in various of your nicknames over the course of the afternoon, I dare say. In terms of this England side then, running in those 9 tries last week against the USA, it was a pretty convincing performance, great for those 6 debutants as well, but you know, no performance is a perfect performance, as athletes we're so used to hearing. What do they need to improve on from that performance?
Yeah, well, look, it's a very, very different day to what it was last week. For one, there's not wind blowing across the field and pouring rain. So hopefully, you know, just things like the basics. So shoring up the set piece, line out ball, kicking the penalties, just making sure the really basic things that all England sides normally do really, really well will be on showcase today. And as we've spoken about, they've got some fantastic players that are very, very capable of doing that. Yeah,
and Natasha, it's this World Cup cycle that we hear so much about as well. We're 2018 now, we've reset. I was almost looking earlier, I liked it when we went from 14 to 17 with 3 years. I was looking going, we've got quite a long while to wait until 2021. Of course, news that it's going to be in New Zealand as well. And so, you know, these people, these players, the inexperienced ones, know that they've got plenty of time to put their name down, put a marker down and be in consideration to play in their first World Cup in 3 years' time.
Oh, massively. Like, it's such an exciting time for England rugby. The Tyrrell's Premier 15 has massively taken off. You've seen how many people are coming through that setup now. Obviously, some of these girls wouldn't have got a look in a couple of years ago, and now the league is so much more professional. They're being seen week in, week out, and it's really, really exciting. Everyone is better. Everyone's pushing each other on, which is why we're seeing England performances like we saw last weekend. Really, really exciting time to be involved in the game for sure.
Now, Katie Daly-Mclean won her 100th cap last week. Lovely moments to witness at Allianz Park. Zoe Harrison's going to be the one pulling the strings today. What do you see of her game?
Yeah, she's struggled a little bit over the course of the last season or so with injury and stuff. And
not played too much this season, has she?
Yeah, just being able to string the games together, and as a number 10, as a fly half, just having that consistency in terms of just playing, let alone how you then play the game, is so important. So it'll be great for her just to get out here, pull the shirt on. She's got a great kicking game, great handling game, all of that sort of stuff. So it would just be great to see her out here, and hopefully she can stay fit and continue that.
Yeah, I think, and for me also, she's sandwiched between Leanne Riley and Rachel Burford, which is a really smart move from the coaches. Obviously, Leanne played really well last weekend. She seemed to be pulling a lot of strings, looked really dangerous ball in hand, and some of her tackles were ferocious. So she had a great game. And then you've got a world-class player outside her, Rachel Burford. So the handling, all of the calls, everything like that, she's going to be getting so much information, so much help. So hopefully, all Zoe's going to have to do is focus on her game.
There's also, youngsters in the front row for England as well. Obviously, the experience in someone like Vicky Cornborough, but we'll bring about some of that scrum chat now that Graham Smith was promised. Hannah Botterman, she was the 6th youngest ever starter for England in this fixture a year ago. She's applied herself to not only develop her game, but also physically. I think she's lost a few pounds as well, got a little bit more athletic, and those sort of players are potentially the real future of England in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've spoken about how important it is to continually develop players and bring them through and make sure actually you've got strength and depth, irrelevant of what happens to everybody else on the side. So, you know, Hannah Botterman's a great example of that. She does look in very good physical condition at the moment, and she's playing really well. And she's one of those players, I'm not going to comment on her scrummaging ability, but just her ball carrying ability and her work around the park is fantastic. And you know, when you look up and you see her in front of you about to run at you, it's certainly not something I want to kind of face.
Well, Sarah Hunter leads out the side then, and brilliant that England Rugby have gone with regionalising these internationals. We've seen it so much in the French game, and we may touch on that French result at half-time against New Zealand. That was quite one to make everybody sit up and take notice over the course of the World Game. But Sarah Hunter takes her place, leading the team out here at the home of Doncaster Knights in the Championship. And, we're set for a real humdinger this afternoon. But first of all, of course, we have the anthems to get out of the way. Canada and England.
In before thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Long live our noble Queen, God save our Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save our Queen.
Well, great to hear Doncaster and Castle Park joining in with the anthems. Let's have a look at the teams for this one then. From scoring 9 tries against the USA last week, there are 10 changes to Simon Middleton's Red Roses. From Saracens, Marley Packer and Poppy Cleal add serious power in the back row, with Rachel Burford returning, as Natasha Hunt said, to make her 80th appearance. Millie Wood gets a first start on the wing, while Bristol's Lucy Atwood also gets the nod, having debuted off the bench last week. Zoe Harrison starting ahead of Katie Daly-Mclean, while Sarah Hunter is back to captain the side. For Canada, well, Sandro Fiorino, now the official head coach, having been interim, he starts their tough tour of 4 matches in 10 days by picking 3 uncapped players to start, in Gabby Senft in the second row, Sabrina Poulin on the left wing and Marie Thibault in the centre. There's experience in the rest of the back three, with 37 tries between Allery and Harvey. Up front, Laura Russell is the most capped, taking the field as captain, with Courtney Holtkamp and Jana Slavinsky, 2 who debuted in this fixture a year ago. And on the benches, Shauna Brown, well, she continues her move to the front row. Yorkshire's own Zoe Aldcroft and Loughborough's Caris Williams, also a good prospect in the centre. And for Canada, 4 more debutants in Bristol's Carson, La Liberté, Taylor Black and Irene Petrinos. And it's England who get things started, playing in their darker strip with Canada in the red. And it's going to be an early carry for Hannah Bottoman. Comes through Harrison, holds it up for Atwood. It's just been a little knock on the floor. If you want to keep in touch with us over the course of the game, hashtag send her victorious, as England Women's Red Roses look to garner the support through social media as they build up over the course of the next few years to 2021. Centre victorious, if you want to keep in touch with us. Little first look at the scrum then, and it's held well by Canada. Cindy Nellis with the first carry from the back, now away from Brianna Miller down the right hand side again. Anais Holly coming onto the ball, but it's with Sarah McKenna in from the Sevens programme, of course. Then plays off to the right, Millie Wood, earning her 4th cap for England, the Gloucester Hartpury player out on the wing. And Sarah Hunter getting involved, uncharacteristically shipping the ball on and not taking it into contact. Great to see the options available to the England captain. Canada come back. It's not the greatest kick, it's gone lateral if it's gone anywhere, and really well fielded by Abby Scott. Captain to side against the USA last week. And just over the halfway line, Leanne Riley wants quicker ball, and they could have some numbers down this channel if they could make it work. It didn't quite go to hand. Kelly Smith has had to work pretty hard to get back there, but she's done well, and it's away from Riley onto Packer. Will always carry and make yards for you, Marley Packer. But in fact, just as I say that, commentator's curse, penalty is given away.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure what that one's for. Tackle to ground, so potentially coming in off the ball. But loving the intent from both teams at the minute. Defensively, the Canada line is so good, filling the field. Both teams are looking to kick and have found some good space in behind as well. So looking forward to seeing some running rugby from the back threes today.
Yeah, chatting to Sandro Fiorino ahead of the game. He was mentioning that there's a lot of strength in the Canadian front three and there's a lot of strength in the Canadian back three. So 2 areas of the field they're hoping to impress. Through 9 to 15, incidentally, there's a fully French theme. They all play in the Nationals for the Quebec region. So they could all be talking French this afternoon just to keep the English away from whatever they've got planned. But first line out for Laura Russell. Most experienced one in the side. And then away from Miller. And it's crash ball for Dalika Menin. Plays her rugby at Calgary Hornets. The 23-year-old has done a decent job there. Then on the run around, it's Anaïs Holly again, and a chance of a run from Alex Tessier, and that's a decent outside line from the inside centre. Good possession from Canada in the 22, but if England managed to force the turnover there, Bottomon was in there in a decent position but wasn't quite able to effect it. Now it's loose, but it's gone backwards, but England were the first to snaffle on it. Vicky Cornborough not wasting any time, and then Kath O'Donnell, solid carry from the Loughborough second row. Ball is available, but referee Sean Gallagher tells Canada that they're not allowed to get in on it yet. Rachel Burford is in at first receiver. Slips it away. Oh, that's really good through the hands from Cornborough onto Lucy Atwood. England showing some great continuity here from Marley Packer to get Millie Wood out on the outside. Canada doing their best to use the touchline to help, but Wood's done a superb job of keeping that in field, and unfortunate for Abby Scott that she just couldn't quite hold it. Referee will play a knock-on advantage, but the clearance kick wasn't in any way good enough. So we will come back for the scrum, but bright moment through the hands from England.
Yeah, ferocious start, absolutely brilliant, and the offloading skills, but not only that, the ability of Sarah McKenna to see the space and instead of carrying on running forward, just to pull it back and get Marley Packer into the game. Absolutely fab. Yeah,
great to see Millie Wood on the ball as well. She is more comfortable at 13. She played a lot more rugby at 13, but what she will give you, she will run hard and she will run strong. Great to see her flying down the wing there, and as you say, really tough to stay in field in situations like that. So for England to keep hold of the ball is great stuff.
So Canadian scrum, very much similar area of the field to we saw the first one. England are defending this a little narrowly. No doubt looking for line speed to try and get up in their faces, and Rachel Burford's trying to use that. And they've gone round the corner of the scrum and knocked referee Sean Gallagher to his backside.
Welcome to the game, Sean.
Yeah.
The crowd, that's the biggest cheer we've heard all morning. The crowd are absolutely loving that one.
I mean, you see it in the men's game. Wonderful. Wonderful. Absolutely love that.
Notice how he's standing on the opposite side of the scrum now. That's not happening again.
He's learned a lesson there, hasn't he? It's always, it must be lovely for your masculinity when a female rugby player tells me, "You're all right there, love." Fantastic. They might not have said it as camp as I just did, but anyway, we continue. Canada with possession. They were right up there with England in that World Cup. Of course, they beat them in the pool stages in 2014. They were at the height of their powers probably at that stage. Disappointing perhaps in the 2017 Rugby World Cup. For the sake of the women's game, it would be great to see them reattain a bit more of that power that they had a couple of years ago, and well, bringing the likes of Allery and Harvey into the game, or back into the game after a bit of time out, might just help bring a bit more stability. That's a little bit messy from England. Wasn't the greatest ball away from Leanne Riley, and difficult pickup.
Yeah, it is a difficult pickup. It's really interesting. Not always something we see from the North American sides is that Canada seem to be kicking the ball a lot in this game so far. Obviously, you know, there's 6 minutes gone, but they seem to have shown their hand a little bit in terms of Anaïs Holly sitting herself back in the pocket. They clearly don't want to be bogged down and let England put them under pressure in their own half, and they're really looking to clear the ball. They've just got to probably try and put a little bit more on it.
Bind. Set.
Canada breaking from the scrum. Oh, it's a nice little bit of footwork from Allery. Played 25 internationals for Canada, this her 26th. Game management will be one of the areas where the experience will be handy for the Canadians. Showing equal footwork to the opposite 15 is Sarah McKenna, and this is decent turnover. Atwood with a little look infield and then cuts it back, and Burford under pressure from Harvey.
Classic 9 play that.
Yeah.
Absolutely classic 9 play. Referee might get a bit annoyed with it, but it works every time. When there's a lazy defender coming back onside, little throw into them to make them know that they're offside always gets you a penalty. Good game management from Leanne Riley, as you just mentioned.
I think also what it proves is, doesn't it, that England clearly want to play a fast game. They're clearly here to move the ball. They're clearly here to get the ball in and out of that ruck as quickly as possible. And you know, we can call that whatever we want, but that's the intent that England are trying to show by doing that.
Yeah, definitely. It's so frustrating as a scrum half when you just can't get the ball out. You're ready to play and there's opposition players in the way of that channel. So smart play, well handled by Leanne.
Yeah, certainly did her best to get the penalty, but ultimately, yeah, I agree. I think she was just wanting to play as well, wasn't she? England bring it down from the line out then. Riley pointing out to the assistant on the near side where the Canadians are in. She's going to have to try and remove them herself.
Advantage black.
Pulls Tyson Bukaboom out of the way. It's a penalty advantage already being played. So what's the call going to be from Zoe Harrison? They've got Kelly Smith down on the left side. Spilled by England, couldn't take the advantage. So we will come back for the penalty. Now, there was no debate from England when they played the USA about going for the posts or going for the corner, and they've similarly started in the same fashion. And as much as test match wins are important, and I'm not suggesting that there shouldn't be a bit of game management, but I think at this point of a World Cup cycle, the team should be encouraged to play a bit.
Yeah, definitely, and as Skaz mentioned earlier, England have a real intent at the moment. They're playing such quick ball. Granted, they've let themselves down a little bit with a couple of easy knock-ons, but they want to play the game, and this is just proving it now.
Taken down by Abby Scott. England looking to get this catch and drive going. Can the Canadian front row do enough to deny it? But no, they can't. The ball is down, and England have their first try. And is it Marley Packer? Just trying to see who it is, who's come up with it. Or even Lark Davis.
Two really good setups on the drives from England. Really quick to get around the ball. Ball transfer has been slick straight to the back, which has created a penalty off the first one. The Canadians swinging around the sides, and this one there's just no stopping them. Low body angles, driving through. Brilliant finish. I imagine it would be Lark Davis if they've set their maul up as they normally do, but wouldn't be surprised if Marley Packer also had wrestled that ball off her, so
yeah,
could be either.
I think it may have been Lark Davis. We'll say that Lark has got it for now, and await further news on that. Conversion goes wide. Another chance to look at this. There's the ball hitting the deck. Yeah, Davis, the scorer. So 5-0, England with the lead. Sarah Hunter calls for it from the kick receipt. Riley to Packer. Attracts 3 Canadian red shirts to bring her down. Does Marley Packer, such is her threat. Title winner in the inaugural Tyrrell's Premier 15s last season. It's just a little bit loose. Is there a chance for Canada to try and jump on this? There is. And it's away from Miller. And they put the kick through, and Magali Harvey will give chase. Kelly Smith under an awful lot of pressure. Have England got the support there in time?
Ball is still in the rock, you're offside.
The referee has penalised Cindy Nellis there, who saw the ball squirting out, thought it was a chance to put the boot in and chase it up around the fringes, but she's been penalised.
Yeah, lovely little option initially to thread the ball through. Brilliant chase from Canada. And again, really good intent from them, showing their different skill set at the minute. Big hard carries, but also the ability to just poke it through in the 22 as well. Such a difficult ball to defend.
Elisa Allery with another good carry, but it's loose on the floor, and Hannah Bottoman kicks it through. Marley Packer is streaking after this as well. Oh, straight in on the floor. The referee momentarily put his whistle to his mouth, but I think he's opting for play on. Marley Packer's just stayed down momentarily out of your shot, but Sarah McKenna will kick into the corner, looking for that ball to bobble and cause Canada a problem or two. It's getting very close into that corner. What a kick that's turned into for Sarah McKenna. Brilliant vision of the space, and sends Canada turning back to their own line.
Fantastic kick that was, wasn't it? It's what you want, all good fullbacks. You get so much ball in that backfield. Pick your head up. What's the option? As we just watched Marley Packer, brave as ever, trying to dive on those loose balls. Let's hope that she's all right. But yeah, fantastic kick by Sarah McKenna. Picks her head up, sees that space, and that's exactly what I imagine the England forwards that picking their heads up out of those rucks want to see. Is they're now defending a line out on the Canadian 5 metre line.
Yeah, brilliant. We've mentioned the game management a few times, and it doesn't just come down to the 9-10 that everyone stereotypically thinks. Also, players that can kick in the backfield. Lucy Atwood's a good kicker of the ball. Sarah McKenna obviously pinning those corners. Without someone like Katie Daly-Mclean potentially pulling the strings, it's so important that players like that step up and also play England into the right spaces where their forwards can attack.
Space back, please. Keep the space.
So Canada with some defending to do in this area of the fields.
Space back. Space. Step 5. 5. Step.
Marley Packer back into things, earning her 60th cap this afternoon.
Don't change your mind.
Well, Canada have done really well here. Straight down the blind side they go. Just lost it forwards in the end. Just goes into touch. That was a nice move from the visitors. Did a really good job of relieving that pressure by keeping ball in hand rather than necessarily looking for the option to clear the lines.
Wait. 2.
It's a good mix-up from Canada. I think we spoke really early doors in the game that they seem to be kicking a little more than perhaps we originally seen. England backfield, then they're sat, they're waiting for it, so pick off the short side, great option.
England coming forward through Poppy Cleal. Play it out to Cornborough. Oh, it's just a drop from Sarah McKenna. Vicky Cornborough linking up brilliantly in the back line several times already in the game so far. We name-checked Graham Smith earlier. I think we need to name-check Gary Street, who is quite keen to remind me that England women drew with Canada in their pool stages, and someone kicked the ball out while the scores were all square. Is that right, Natasha Hunt?
Yeah, it was 13-all, I believe, and we were going into their 22, but we were under so much pressure for about 15-20 minutes that I just thought they were more likely to score than we were, and we'd already done enough to go through, so I was like, no, enough of this, I'm just getting rid of the ball.
I like the fact you're still justifying it.
Yeah, it's always good when you scrum half back to you as well.
Thanks for bringing it up, Streety. Anyway,
Yeah.
Apologies for the slight error earlier. It was a draw. Anyway, Canada with possession. Kicked away from Anais Holly. McKenna in the backfield. Oh, that was a big hit.
Oh, not above the horizontal. Leave it red.
Ref says it wasn't above the horizontal. Sarah Hunter then stepping off the right boot, accompanied by Packer. Harrison, she's under real pressure in that 10 channel, but that's a good line from Bottoman, and Bottoman stepping back inside. Hannah Bottoman still going and eating up the yards. Potential future of England's front row right there, and looking so mobile as well. England get the penalty as Canada try and use hands to wrestle the ball back, but what a run from the Saracens prop.
Exactly what Skaz spoke about in the pre-match. Hannah Bottom, I'm not sure about her scrummaging, as Skaz said, but she's so good ball in hand. As she broke through the first tackle, I was thinking, look, Pop is on your shoulder, Pop is on your shoulder, but you don't need to look when you're going to break 3 or 4 tackles like that. Brilliant run by her, and such a shame that Canada just managed to stifle that, because there was so much space on the wing for Kelly Smith. She'd have been in under the sticks.
Yeah, you could argue that's a really smart penalty to give away, couldn't you, from Canada? There's so much space on this left-hand side. Could it have been a cynical one, yellow card? Not sure, question mark. But,
that's a good point. Well, Canada have got the line out right again, and they're breaking up to the edge of the 22. They've dealt with those defensive situations really well when they've had those line outs, areas that England are so used to spoiling. Clearance is made. Good take from Millie Wood. Just settling into that position on the wing. More often a centre, as Emily Scarrett says with Gloucester Hartpury. Harrison. Oh, look for the low pass, nearly intercepted from Alex Tessier. Well, it was, but she dropped it. Just seems to be a little half-second longer that Harrison's taking to get that ball out to the back line at the minute, which is allowing Canada to get on top of England.
Yeah, it's fine to take that half-second, but she needs to just take a slightly more depth if she's going to do that, because I think they've read it twice really well. They're just coming through and they're trying to pick off that pass. I think that's the second time that Canada have gone for that intercept, so something they've probably spoken about pre-match. England, for me, just needs it everyone just take slightly more depth so that Zoe can do that she's got time to then pull the pass back if she wants to play that flat to the line. But at the minute, neither of the options are really working.
Set.
Good position for England here.
Stay 9.
And they've got Harrison on the left here with Burford and Atwood. And Harrison's gone for the chip through. Burford steaming through as well. They were 3-1 here, England against Harvey. But Harvey's done really well. She was 3-1 against.
Yeah, we know all about her pace. Brilliant option from England though, absolutely fantastic. Just nudging it in behind, all the pressure is on Canada, and it results in an England scrum 5 metres out. We've seen their forward dominance already in the maul. Let's see if we've got, imagine Sarah Hunter that she's just going for a pushover on this one.
You would imagine that might well be the case.
Love to know her try stat for pushover to normal tries.
Yeah, that's true.
So good at the back of the scrum though. It's such a difficult skill, and I actually used to live with Sarah Hunter. She used to be my housemate, and the amount of time she'd go around the living room just practicing dribbling a little football.
There you go, practice makes perfect.
There you go.
Well, Kelly Smith nearly gave the game plan away, running across from the right hand side down back to her left wing channel. She arrived a little early, but England won't mind. They've still maintained possession, and they go straight through. Is it try number 2? It is. But certainly in this area of the game, England are really dominant. That loose opportunity to get a drive on, and they get try number 2. Is it Abby Scott who scored it?
Yeah, we see it here now. Really good initial setup. You can see how low the English players are. 3 people around the ball so that everyone can drive the momentum of the other player. I think Abby Scott's just kind of helping. I'm not sure who's on the floor underneath her, but I think Abby Scott was the one that added the initial power and the additional power to get her over the line. Potentially Lark Davis again if our cameramen are on it.
Our monitor's in the sunshine at the minute, so not quite got a clear view of who put that one down. But Lucy Atwood to try and add 2 points. Another close effort. Doesn't quite work out. Another look at the try. Second one for England. It is Lark Davis confirmed. England leading 10 points to 0. Kelly Smith just had a little look at See if anyone else wanted it, but opted in the end to take it. Burford on a little line in field. And the clearance kick. It's just touched the whitewash. That was really nicely done from Lucy Atwood. Been in the pathway. She's been playing well together at Bristol alongside Phoebe Murray.
Yeah, she's been playing really well at Bristol, and what she gives you is that left-footed option. So when exiting, England did a much better job of that one than they did after the previous try. But it's really simple things. You've got Zoe Harrison on the right-hand side, Lucy Atwood on the left, right foot, left foot. Both got very, very good, competent kicking game. So it's just it's a really easy way to relieve pressure.
Voice of Emily Scarrett, who is alongside Natasha Hunt.
Tackle!
In our co-commentary this afternoon. We hope you're enjoying our coverage on englandrugby.com, on the Facebook page and YouTube channels. We're also, you may be watching us live through the Sky Sports Rugby Facebook page as well. Great to have your company. We are at Doncaster, Castle Park, home of the Doncaster Knights. England leading by 10 points to 0. Abby Scott in that tackle, trying to rip the ball away. Got herself in a great position to get the penalty. That's superb work from the Harlequin.
Brilliant play, and it just shows how good a good exit is. Obviously England, no pressure in their own half. They're defending on their 10-metre line. They're able to go that little bit more, just test the boundaries, because they've got so much building behind them, and a fantastic turnover as well. Down towards the 22 now, so a great attacking option.
Yes, I'm pitch side here with Lydia Thompson. Lydia, a couple of tries for England, a really bright start. What have you made of them so far?
Really clinical. I think we've just gone out there, we've followed what we needed to do. It's been lovely to see Zoe working the forwards, getting the game going. It's been great to see McKenna bossing it at the back and fielding a lot of challenging balls that Canada have been giving to us. I think it's been fantastic to see us stick to what we need to do and carry it out.
You're right in the heart of this crowd today, really getting behind the team, aren't they? Making a lot of noise.
It's been brilliant. I think it's nice to come somewhere fresh, to get loads of fans down. It's been brilliant. The kids have been supporting and cheering for the girls, and I think it makes such a good atmosphere for us to play in front of these sort of crowds.
Lydia Thompson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
What a legend she is.
Good old Lydia Thompson. Scored a couple of worldies in her time. Marley Packer has provided quite a few, and she nearly did so again for Kelly Smith. England building again. Bottoman. Good tackle from Slavinsky. Harrison on for Cleal.
Off your feet, 15, leave it! First action.
England get the penalty, and the referee is just going to have a moment here.
Just captain. There's quite a lot of penalties in different areas of the game.
So Sean Gallagher
15 went off the feet to coach here, and then the next player in took the scrum half before they had the ball. Now there's no big issue at the moment, but I just wanted to have a word with them and tell them.
Well, Gallagher pointing out that Allery
Yeah, generally around.
is one of those giving penalties away,
Just give it 1 second.
and then other players going in and taking players off the ball. So Canada need to be wary in this area of the field.
Yeah, they really do, but England's attack at the moment is relentless for me from their forwards. You've got people like Bottoman, Cleo, Packer, Hunter carrying wave after wave. It's so difficult to defend. The Canadians are really stepping up and they're really putting their bodies on the line, but it is just so hard to keep getting up and keep facing massive ball carriers like that.
England from the penalty will look to build again. And if you're Lark Davis, you've got to be eyeing up a hat-trick inside half an hour, haven't you? Gets the ball in, and then straight in she rejoins at the back alongside Bottoman and Cornborough as well. Leanne Riley wants to try and keep them going. They do break a little. Canada desperately trying to defend this. Riley doing really well to move Kath O'Donnell around. Try and move it. There's a penalty advantage coming. Oh, the try has been scored. In there again. the forwards' effort is just what the doctor ordered for England. And it's Poppy Cleal this time.
I'm not going to comment too much on the rolling ball, but England are very good at it, very competent at that. You know, they'll have been practicing that all week with Blaze. But it just comes from, you know, Natasha talked about it earlier, just that pressure. But it's probably one of the first periods of time that England have really kept the ball. They've gone through the phases and they've just squeezed Canada. And at the moment, they're breaking through penalties, kick to the corner, driving line out, and it's very. You know, it's drills then for England. It's something that they practiced all week.
But if you're Lucy Atwood at 13, you're going, can we have a go, please?
Yeah. Well, I saw Kelly Smith over on this left-hand side in acres of space, waving her arm, and I was thinking, yeah, I'd be doing exactly the same, but I don't think you're going to get the ball. It's one of those, isn't it? You know, you can always see so many different pictures in the game of rugby, but you know, when the forwards are having such success from that, they're going to keep doing it.
Conversion was missed, so England leading by 15 points to 0. Gone for a shorter line this time to allow a bit of competition for it, but Magali Harvey just knocking it on. Riley off to the right. Packer is the first to have a go. Riley again just takes a couple of paces for Burford. Cleal knew she was going to be hit with the ball there. Harvey's a little bit frustrated by it.
It's a great fizz pass from Rachel Burford, but again, I'm not sure it's necessary in that moment. It's just putting pressure on them. I see why she's done it. There's loads of space there, but Cleo just needs to not get as excited, hold her depth. Then she's got time to get that through the hand. She's such a quality player that pass would be easy 9 times out of 10. Brilliant spot tackle though by Harvey, coming out of the line and making that hit, because otherwise it was a 2-on-1 and Kelly Smith would be screaming down that wing.
Magali Harvey, top point scorer for Canada. Now they look to go down the blind side with Cindy Nellis. Civil engineer by trade. England are trying to force Canada into touch here, but they've come in at the side in order to do so. So referee Gallagher is going to send England 6, 7 and 8 back. Now what's the call going to be here? 3 tries down on the score sheet. That's for Tessier to try and put it into the corner and see with possession what the front 8 of Canada can do. Didn't get too many yards on that kick down the touchline. Russell goes to the back pod. Oh, it's not been held. Lark Davis takes it down. High tackle came at her from behind, so there's a penalty advantage being played to England. They'd probably quite like the chance to run it and use it. It's a lovely slip of the ball from Kath O'Donnell. Cleal, Harrison. Advantage just called over, so Elisa Rallery takes hold of it. Pumps it back from whence it came. Back in field for Harrison, who shaped momentarily to kick, but saw that Rallery was right on top of her. Sarah Hunter straight and low into her opposite number, Nellis. Davis gets the hands away to Abby Scott. Atwood is out on the left calling it. She's going to be first receiver here. Atwood then looks to put it through off the left peg. It was nearly handled by Magali Harvey, but it just came off her fingertips. Looks like she might have slimmed down ever so slightly, Magali Harvey, from how she looked a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we've not seen her on the international stage for a little while. Obviously came to life in that 2014 World Cup and has been, you know, in the 15s game, in the 7s game, around a lot in terms of Canadian women's rugby. So, you know, it's great to see her back here in England playing playing, you know, the way that she does, very, very fast on the ball. I wouldn't want to be chasing her down or trying to fight for a kick chase with her. But yeah, great to see her back out here. England now will be really looking to get a grip of this last 10 or so minutes of this game, playing again in the right areas of the field as Lucy Atwood was just trying to do there, but making sure that Canada can't put any pressure on them just before the half.
England's third try, scored by Poppy Cleal. Picking and going well. Richard Blaze, of course, the man who's looking after the forwards effort now, following Matt Ferguson's departure. Talking to Simon Middleton during the week about the likes of Shauna Brown, who's on the bench, who, of course, has played in the back row at Harlequins, but is being morphed into a bit more of a front row forward, being more of that athletic, mobile type of prop. Keen to point out to me that Matt Ferguson has already been shaping players like that, like Sarah Byrne previously, so it's nothing new. Riley. Burford has waited on the left side and Bottoman has joined in support, but Burford goes for the missed pass to find Kelly Smith. Smith well tackled by Slavinsky. Riley.
Leave it, no red, leave it!
Well, it really looked like that might have been coming back on the Canada side, but referees told them to get out. Wasn't the most sympathetic of passes from Kath O'Donnell to Marley Packer, and Canada have managed to hold on to it, and they fling it out to the left-hand side. And can they send Sabrina Poulan away? England look to try and drive them back in the tackle with Cleal. But Canada, well, they're penalised. Felt like it was coming back on their side. Alex Tessier's just taken a knee for a moment. But England win the penalty in the tackle situation. And Canada must, well, they're struggling a little bit with or without the ball.
Yeah, they are, which is quite interesting for me, because when you look at them without the ball defensively, they are so set. They've got really good width and they're making their tackles. I think it's just the relentless nature of England coming wave after wave after wave that they're struggling to deal with. Conversely, in attack, they've got really good width again. They look like they're ready to go all of the time. They're mixing it up nicely between a kicking and a passing game. I'd like to see them keep more ball in hand now, because I think England are coming quite narrow in defence and actually sat waiting for the kick.
Ball comes to the back to Cleal. They're getting it to march forwards. Burford, Atwood, McKenna and co are wondering if they're going to see this. They're looking in to Riley. Packer has it. Gallagher's already told her one opportunity is the maul slowed down, but then a few Canadians peel away. Or in fact, Canada now get a bit of a counter shove on it, but it will come out to the back line. And Atwood, tackled by Tessier. Advantage being played as it's lost forwards, and the kick comes from Miller and clears the lines. Well, be frustration from Atwood not to have been able to hold on to that.
Yeah, it will be, and it comes from what looked, again, not trying to comment on something I don't know a huge amount about, but a much better, more defence from the Canadian side. England weren't able to, they got a little bit of a shove on, they got a little bit of a rumble on, but they weren't able to sustain that pressure, and meaning England had to use the ball. And then, you know, Lucy Atwood, that's a really tough line, running into three big, strong Canadian players.
Marley Packer is just going to do that and finds Poppy Cleal, but it was just lost forward between 7 and 6 there. Canada will have the scrum. No Karen Paquin, Kelly Russell, Andrea Burke, Mandy Marchak. These, of course, some of the names that you may recall from Canada in the recent past. Players no longer involved, retired.
Yeah, big names, but also great girls. I'm sure they'll be supporting and watching the live stream.
5 Rugby World Cup players from 2014 involved, 4 from that final. 3 debutants starting today for Canada. Gabby Senft, the Canadian flanker, number 6, one of those. And there's Brianna Miller, the 27-year-old scrum half. high school teacher, made her debut against England a couple of years ago.
We got to get back to where we were.
Plays her rugby at the St Anne de Bellevue Club.
No push.
Sunshine is really low in exactly the direction that England are heading, almost pretty much between the posts as they look downfield. Not easy to see on a low kicking game. Canada opt to go through the hands to begin with, though. Atwood is held. Wasn't the easiest of passes for Harvey to take. She couldn't quite get away from Kelly Smith, who marshalled to her well. Sarah Hunter told to roll away. Carry was from Bookaboom. Cousin Brett has played a fair bit of rugby in this country, in the championship and on this ground. McKenna. He was well tackled by Allery. Penalty, Canada. It was really well worked from the visitors. First up tackle from vice-captain Elisa Allery. And then teammates straight in to try and win the ball. So that'll give them a bit of heart. Just, well, need a bit more territory to go with it.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen Canada string a few phrases together and looking really sharp. As I said before, they look like they're set to go. They look like they're really, really aware of what they're trying to do as a team. So it's just a matter of time before they can string those phases together, keep hold of the ball, and obviously get rid of those Jacqueline English players. And I'm sure they'll be able to pull something quite special out of the bag.
Tessier got that kick into the corner. Harvey comes in off the wing. Packer had identified the problem, dealt with it well. Bookaboom onto Russell. Away again from Miller. Now they're looking to try and put a bit of width on it through Tessier once more. Allery. Man and ball tackle. England will have the scrum.
Good pressure again from the English line. That it's clear that they want to get off the line. They want to go and make shots. Millie Wood there coming in and making a shot on, I think it was the 15, so leaving the winger, letting the, Sarah McKenna fullback come round and take the winger. It shows a good intent from England. They want to go and get in their face, and you know it's paid dividends there because England have now got the scrum.
Yeah, also love that bit of skill from Holly at 10 for Canada. Brilliant catch, it absolutely fizzed it, missed pass out, and that is such a difficult thing to do in the face of a defence. The speed at which she transferred that ball, brilliant. So I'd love to see her get more hands on the ball, and then Canada looking to play rather than looking to kick in the second half.
There's too much movement. There's too much movement.
Riley opened the scoring last week for England. Gets it away, Hunter plays it away. Solid run off the right wing from Wood. He's had a decent first half. Quick ball again. England might have a bit of width here if they could use it. Harvey was up and had 2 or 3 players to mark. Well, that's a brilliant throw of the dummy from Allery. Sold a couple of England defenders there, bought herself just a bit more time. Not the easiest of passes from Bookaboom though, that was a little bit soft. Didn't allow anyone to come onto that with too much. Anais Holly trying to keep things ticking over. Still very much in their own half here though, Canada. Kick is sent downfield. It's going to have to bounce, and the chase is on. Oh, and it was well taken from Tessier, which has won it back for Canada with the penalty as well. Now it's away, Bookaboom given the shout on the outside from Harvey, who was almost through the gap herself. Harvey loitering back on the inside. Can Slavinsky find her with the ball? They've certainly got it to Thibault. The Club de Quebec outside centre. Brighter spell from Canada. Miller trying to keep it ticking over. Has options on the short side. Now they go open through Tessier onto Russell.
Not on the ball.
Centre of the park. They've made some decent yards as well, Canada. Can they get any points to show for it in this first half before the break? Bukaboom straightens, takes 3 England defenders with her, but as she got herself isolated, clear out was just good enough and just in time. Canada go again. It's a really good drive. Tessier again involved in some of the good stuff that they've done. Ball back in field, really good support line from Olivia de Merchant. Up to 5 metres out now. Canada's clearest and best chance of the game this. Away for Nellis. And then Menin. Dalika Menin. Tackled by...
Advantage red.
Well, it's going to be a penalty against Marley Packer for not releasing on the floor.
Now advantage red.
The advantage is being played. Do they want the whistle or are they going to try and play this? Off to the right again, they've gone for the little chip through. Allery gives chase. It's well picked out of the air by Kelly Smith, but we will come back for the penalty. Great spell from the visitors.
Really, really impressive spell. Like I've been saying, I just want them to hold on to the ball, put a few phases together. They went wide, they came through the middle, they offloaded. They're showing their skills at the minute, Canada. They're showing that they've got a variation in their game, and when they get it right, when they can keep hold of the ball, it looks absolutely brilliant. Harvey, I think she should have just dropped the hammer when she got through.
She was through, wasn't she?
She was through the line. I think she was surprised that she actually got the other side of the English defence.
It's like she'd made the decision to pass it
before she got there, but brilliant bit of play from them. Let's see if they can finish it off before the half.
Well, the clock is red. But from the penalty decision, Canada are opting to scrum it. Miller.
Leave it 9, go back 9.
Leanne Riley's been told to get back. Canada try and break. Good tackle from Rachel Burford, putting her body on the line. There's another advantage though. Anais Holly, she's gone for a chip through again. Tessier's chasing it, and Tessier grounds it. It's a try for Canada. Warm applause from the crowd at Doncaster. They worked hard for it and deserved the reward.
Yeah, it really did. And Mo's already highlighted what fantastic build-up play that was, using all of their athleticism, using all of their skill set, and then again with penalty advantage, it's an absolute shot to nothing. We see it all of the time. I didn't know whether they'd gone a bit early in terms of moving it wide, but yeah, great kick. And as soon as that ball is bouncing on the ground, we all know a rugby ball can go anywhere, and it's just a great chase. You chance your arm a little bit with stuff like that, and Canada will be really pleased going into half-time having scored that try.
Well, second try in 18 appearances for Alex Tessier. She's been doing a fair amount well in that inside centre channel for Canada. And now can Brianna Miller add 2 points without any of the conversions going over from England. 15-7, just an 8-point deficit at half-time. Would not look too bad at all from the visitors' perspective.
I think what it also shows is just what can be achieved when you just have that sustained pressure.
England started their run up there. Oh, the kick is good. 2 points added by Brianna Miller. And that has put a slightly different perspective on things at the break. And I would say for the better in terms of the game as a contest, because, well, we saw how dominant England were against the USA last week. But a really solid start to this. 3 tries to the good over the first half. But the try from Alex Tessier converted by Miller brought Canada to within 8 points. Half-time score is England 15, Canada 7 at Castle Park in Doncaster. So let's have a look then at how the first half has gone. In terms of the tries that England have scored, well, it's been largely an up-front effort. And catch and drive started by Lark Davis getting the first of her 2 scores.
Yeah, brilliant setup by England. Really strong, really low. So difficult to defend when you get that right. The ball transfers straight to the back. Look at that leg drive. I think it's Sarah Hunter and Abby Scott at the front, just driving it backwards. Brilliant play, just dragging Lark over the line for her first.
it's been similar themes for all of England driving mauls. Their driving maul tries. It's come from that sustained pressure. It's come from forcing the Canadians to give away a penalty in what is a really, really tough area of the field to defend. This is the second try here again, just keeping hold of the ball. Spoke about how good the England forwards are. They're physical, they're strong, they're industrious in how they go about their tight work like this. So yeah, they've been really, really good in this first half.
I think we can hear Graham Smith purring from Portugal. Should give a shout. It's Cian Poblenou Rugby. I've probably not pronounced that terribly, but hope everything's going well for you there, Smithy. Like Davis then getting her second score, and then Poppy Cleal wanted in on the action over in the far corner.
Yeah, I've been so impressed with England's patience around these tight areas. It's so easy to just keep going with something until obviously someone else comes up with a way to stop it, and that's exactly what England are doing. Canada stopped the initial drive, their patience, they reset, they shifted off and they went again, and obviously Poppy comes up trumps on this one.
Will England's backline be feeling a little bit of pressure? The couple of times they've had to attack, it's not been the cleanest of hands perhaps, and the forwards have got those 3 tries down. And then, you know, is that where they're feeling their strengths are in this game? Will the backs feel a bit of pressure second half to make sure they can try and make something stick?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, England have clearly shown what their forward pack is capable of, and you know, there's the argument if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm sure they'll continue to kind of along those lines, but definitely as a back line, we've spoken about the quality of the day. It's a dry ball, it's a fantastic track. They're going to want to see it go through the hands. With forwards carrying as they are, Hannah Bottoman, Poppy Cleal making such good yards through the middle, that's fantastic front ball for the back line to go charging after.
Yeah, brilliant little chip through for Alex Tessier. 3 tries to 1 then. England women leading by 15 points to 7. What'll be the chat then from Simon Middleton at half-time, do you think?
I think keep hold of the ball. I think England are their own worst critics at the minute. The frustrations of them just dropping the ball when they're creating a little bit of pressure, and granted that was probably first 20 minutes. I think they've settled into the game now, but I think definitely it will be when you get the ball, keep hold of the ball, because you look how dangerous they are. They've got them everywhere. They've got them on the blind side when they swing it out wide. You've seen how much space Kelly Smith's been in screaming for the ball. I'm not sure you can see it on the cameras, but she's got her hands up in the air a lot. So yeah, definitely keep hold of the ball, play the phases and just go back at them.
All right, we'll hear more from these 2 wonderful girls in just a moment. But of course, one of the players that's into the side this week is England captain Sarah Hunter, and we can find out a little bit more about her now.
Mine's probably a little bit different because obviously I started playing rugby league. I started playing at primary school, so we had a community rugby coach come in, and I didn't have a choice. I almost got shoved this funny looking ball in my hand, and I remember running around having so much fun. I was a very sort of sporty kid, so I wanted to play any sport, like football, like netball, hockey, rounders, whatever it was. I just was quite active. I played for a team called Gateshead Panthers outside of primary school as well. On Saturday mornings, and you got in the cold, the wet, the rain, whatever it was, but actually that enjoyment you got from running around with your mates, you almost like longed for it to come. Like you were, as soon as the training session or the game was over, you wanted it to be here straight away. And I have such fond memories as a child from those days.
Lovely to hear from the England skipper, and she certainly is out there leading well as best she can in terms of doing things at the back of that scrum where all the tries have come from for England. Let's have a look at some of the fixtures that are coming up for you. Of course, over the course of the next couple of weeks, well, a month or so I should say, the next Quilter International finishing off the series of 3. It'll be the Red Roses against Ireland. That's at Twickenham following the men's game next week against Australia. England women against Ireland Saturday the 24th, a 5:40 kickoff. You can get in there free to watch that one after the men's game. Then the Killick Cup is at Twickenham. The Barbarians taking on Argentina Saturday the 1st of December, a 2:30 p.m. kickoff. And then, continuing the action at Twickenham. Big game 11 in the Gallagher Premiership. Harlequins against Wasps, Saturday the 29th of December. Some festive fare, 4 o'clock kickoff. englandrugby.com/tickets. I'll be hosting some fun in the fan village if you want to come along to that one, ladies. I know you'll be there cheering me on. Then other bits and pieces on the live stream to look forward to. 4 visits before the end of January to the Tyrrell's Premier 15s. Loughborough Lightning against Wasps. I'll be on commentary for that one midday Saturday the 1st of December. Then Dave Rogers will be looking after coverage of the Ace Final and Champions Trophy Final from Allianz Park, the schools, on Wednesday December the 5th. Saracens against Harlequins back in the Tyrrell's Premier 15s Saturday January the 12th, 3:45 kickoff. Hartpury against Doncaster Knights, then into the Green King IPA Championship Saturday January the 19th. Gloucester Hartpury against Sarries towards the end of January, and then wrapping things up from the Tyrrell's Premier 15s for January's coverage, Wasps against Harlequins. That should be quite the game at Twyford Avenue in the Tyrrell's Premier 15s. So England and Canada will get it right this time. Of course, they drew in their pool stage in 2014. A great tournament, of course, that you two were involved with. A player in the women's game that we should make mention of, because New Zealand took on France yesterday. An historic result in the women's game. New Zealand don't get beaten very often, but they got beaten by France by 30 points to 27. And, Fiafau Masili, the New Zealand hooker, and Linda Aitunu are both retiring from the game. And here's the send-off that they were given. Our thanks to All Blacks TV for sharing this. But Fiafau Masili, a 19-year career, just on the left there of the two of them there with Aitunu. 4 World Cups. She was in 5 finals. Ladies, a word on her contribution to the game.
Yeah, just unbelievable. Last week we spoke a lot about Katie Daly-Mclean and what she'd achieved getting 100 caps and things, but somebody like Fee has given so much to the game, given so much to Black Ferns rugby and New Zealand rugby. It's, she's been around such a long time, achieved so much in the game. I think, you see scenes like this and it just shows you what she means to her team and ultimately her country as well. And, for the pair of them, congratulations, well done, and I hope retirement suits them well.
Yeah, it's actually given me goosebumps watching this. It's the first time I've seen it. Just unbelievable send-off for her. I think it's such a special moment to be part of a team. Obviously, we all know what the Black Ferns are like, and to be part of that team and to be in that team for such a long amount of time is just huge credit to her as a person, as a player, and I wish her all the best for the future.
That has genuinely brought a lump to my throat. I saw a bit of that clip earlier, but not all the way to the end. Absolutely brilliant send-off in France, and of course a nation that love their women's rugby. Best of luck to Fiafau Masili and Linda Aitunu in retirement. So, we're just having a little look over our shoulders to check whether the teams are coming out. I can see Simon Middleton and Richard Blaze have made their way. We talked about what would be said to England's women, but what about in terms of the Canadians? They've got that 7 points on the board. Brilliant time to do it as far as they're concerned, Emily Scarrett.
Yeah, fantastic time to do it. I think similar to what Natasha said, rugby's a really simple game. You keep hold of the ball, you apply pressure, and things break. They do. It's just natural. So Canada showed at the end of that first half what they are capable of. So they'll just be wanting to go and replicate that. They'll go and keep putting pressure on England. Kick the ball, but kick the ball well. Keep the ball in hand and look after it. All the rugby cliches that are applied to really the way you play the game simply. But yeah, they'll be coming out with a whole load of confidence then.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hand down to Nathan Middleton, who I understand is down at pitchside.
We're joined live at pitchside in Women's Sports, Coach Richard Blaze. Richard, a couple of tries in there which were made by the forwards. Must be delighted with their effort in that first 40.
Yeah, I think so. Well, we probably took our foot off the throat, and we said we wanted to be clinical. We know if we get into the opposition 22, we can cause damage with our backs and our forwards. But I think we didn't build enough pressure, and you saw we got a good platform, and then we probably forcing an offload, but then gives them an opportunity. And I think we were 6-0 penalty count, so we're probably going to have to manage that now in the next periods. They had some good pressure here and probably went into the half-time in the upper hand, so we'll have to deal with the next phase they come with.
Has that been the message at half-time, just being a bit more clinical in your play?
Yeah, 100%. We give the girls licence to play, and we want them to make the right decisions, but we thought some of those decisions we probably need to just hold on to the ball a little bit more, build pressure. Hannah Bottom's probably a good example of that, actually. When she got good go forward, actually then everything becomes a lot easier for the team and the backs and the forwards.
Richard, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck for the second half.
Cheers, Ross.
I think Hannah Bottoman, obviously we saw her, she's made one amazing run, but she has made ground every time she's carried the ball. She doesn't always seem to look for that offload, but what she does is recycle the ball, get it back towards her team really, really well, so then it just allows the next phase to be even flatter, more continuity, defences on the back foot, etc. So yeah, really impressed with her first half.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mentioned it during commentary, having a conversation during the week with Simon Middleton and finding out, we've got Shauna Brown, who is being moved as a back rower into the front row, a very athletic, she's been a caber tosser and various other very athletic things that Shauna Brown's done, a firefighter and all that sort of stuff. We remember when the men's game went from having fairly big lumps as props to having more athletic players in 1 and 3, and I mentioned, is that somewhere where they're trying to go, and I was well corrected to be told, well, actually that's been happening for a while now with Sarah Byrne, Vicky Cornborough, these sort of players in those positions are pretty athletic, and that's happening now in the women's game.
Yeah, 100%, and you can see it. Even on the Canadian side, Dalika players like that, they're so mobile, these front rowers now, that it's incredibly tough. They're obviously great at their scrummaging job and everything they do in terms of that, but just their ability and their work around their part, their ability to break tackles, go forward, it makes such a difference to the side.
So England then with themselves in the lead, 15 points to 7 through the brace of tries by Lark Davis and Poppy Cleal. Alex Tessier touching down, converted by Miller at half-time, gives us the 15-7 scoreline. And it's going to be Canada to get us restarted. Magali Harvey is over the ball. Harvey goes short. Canada did send a couple of longer kicks through that first half, but the couple of shorter ones they did send did cause England a few more problems, and they nearly had the chance to win them back as well. So that was obviously the thinking from the start of the second half, as Riley gets it away, or miscommunication between Davis and Hunter. Then it goes out to the back, trying to see if either of the teams had made any changes at half-time. Canada looked to have brought on Sarah Svoboda. Clearance kick downfield from Harrison, taken in by Allery, and away on the support line is Sabrina Poulin. And Harvey throws it down. Canada a little bit guilty of going backwards before they go forwards here. Still with possession though. Canada still with possession through the try scorer Tessier, out to the left, and Allery cutting back. That's really nice work, and then the good support line comes from Dalika Menin.
Advantage 2-row. Advantage red.
Vicky Cornborough's just taken a little bit of a knock to the chest. It's a penalty to Canada.
2-row away.
Mark Davis, the one ping, the Worcester hooker.
Great start from Canada, defended really, really well, good exit from England, and in the first half we saw them couple phases and they kicked straight back down into the England's backfield. This time, like I said, wanted to see them run a bit more. I think that must have been the chat at half-time, but keep hold of the ball, play the phases. They've just got a penalty on halfway, kick down, they're on England's 22 now, just purely by keeping hold of possession, and some great work by Allery as well. So fantastic start to the second half by them.
Yeah, continuing the work that they were doing towards the end of that first half. Picking up where they left off, I should say. Laura Russell, Toronto Nomads, made her debut against South Africa in 2011, and well, I think plans in place from South Africa to start putting a bit more emphasis on their women's rugby.
Leave it red!
Was loose, and it's been well turned over by England. Hunter sets it up for Riley. Riley wants a little bit more protection, but he's going to ask the forwards to take it up, which Poppy Cleal won't need a second invitation to do. Harrison hasn't found touch with that. Sabrina Poulin is getting the call inside from Allery. England up in defence well, which meant Gabby Senft couldn't just make the immediate offload, but then the gap started to open up anyway, and now Laura Russell in loose play enjoys coming onto the ball again. Then Tessier. It's the sort of rugby, well, that earned Canada plenty of yards upfield and eventually yielded the try towards the end of the first half, but they've just got isolated and held on to, so England will have the penalty, and Harrison comes over to put this one into the corner. The sun is just above the row of trees over to the left end.
So you're on the line, Red.
Love to see that renewed intent from Canada in terms of that second half, keeping hold of the ball, taking the English players on. But if they're going to do that, they've got to make sure that they're getting numbers to the breakdown quickly, because you've got players like Marley Packer, Hannah Bottoman that are going to be all over that ball if there's a slight sniff.
Ball goes to the back to Abby Scott. Harrison, ball nicely out in front of her, and it's allowed England really good front foot ball to send Poppy Cleal onto it. Another good run, Kath O'Donnell. Riley away to Harrison. Atwood a little deeper here. Looks at the option inside. Wrapped up in the tackle by Poulin. Packer, she couldn't hold on to it. Saw the advancing tackler and took her eye off it. Allery spots a chance to kick it forward. Doesn't get too much depth on the kicks, but it's actually quite a nice angle over to that right side. Wasn't so much cross field, but just spotted a bit of open territory, and are Canada in a position to try and turn this over? No, England have done really well. Riley spots a chance to snipe. Natasha Hunt will like the look of that. Davis up over the halfway line. Riley gets herself back. It was a little loose between Bottoman and Hunter. Sarah Hunter will turn around and do what she does best. Take the contact, present the platform. Harrison looks for the little chip through. Harvey will gather it. Has Poulin offering herself in support to the right, but Harvey loves a bit of open water, but that's a superb tackle from Lucy Atwood. Brilliant follow-up on Magali Harvey. Harvey must have thought she was away. Just seems to have lost that little yard of pace that made her electric in the last year or two. Brianna Miller. Oh, wow, that was an uncharacteristic error from Sarah McKenna. She won't want to watch that one again.
No, she won't, but I tell you someone who will want to watch it again, Lucy Atwood. What a shot, absolutely sniped Harvey, and we know how dangerous she can be when she gets going. She can absolutely motor, so brilliant tackle by her. Again, unforced error by Marley Packer. She'll be disappointed with that, and look at that shot, the timing of it, how quickly she gets her to the floor. Just brilliant, textbook.
Bind! Set!
Wasn't the easiest ball
Knock on only. Knock
for
on
Miller
back.
to take. Riley got a hand to it, so there is a knock-on advantage being played. Miller will go back to her right. Miller goes again. Oh, and Miller's gone herself here. Needs the support to arrive, which it does. And Harvey happy to step in and play scrum half.
No, you're not on the ball, Black. What was that?
Harvey just lofts it over the top.
Release! Tackle!
Canada growing into this game, just looking more and more comfortable on the ball. Penalty to them, and they opt to go quickly. Miller gets the call out wide into the hands of Marie Thibault. Gets it away.
It's okay, open play.
England not offside because it's open play. Thibault again. Oh, she's just knocked it forwards in the tackle. England will have the scrum, but there's just a growing belief in the Canadian side.
Yeah, Canada now just starting to get their offload game going. However good your defence is, if the attacking side against you is getting in behind you, getting their arms free, having those runners flooding through, it's so difficult to defend. But as you see there, Poppy just comes through, slots that weak arm, dislodges the ball. That's how you defend it. You've got to put numbers to it. You've got to go target the ball. Yeah, great stuff both sides.
England regroup.
Okay, let's go.
Just
Yeah,
momentarily. Couldn't see if anyone was getting attention. Sorry, Mo, go on.
No, we spoke pre-match about that experience of Rachel Burford, of Sarah Hunter coming back into the starting team, and you just saw there both of them got the whole team around, probably telling everyone just to settle, pick up those offload runners, make sure we keep hold of the ball when we get the ball.
Set.
Let's see how they manage this next period.
Riley needed a long pass left to right, had it in the locker to get rid of. Allery, she's looked for a little chip there, but executed it poorly. McKenna, and she's got Millie Ward working on the outside. Ward well tackled in the end in recovery from Sabrina Poulin, but there's been a high tackle call from the referee, so England had the advantage. Sarah Hunter presents it for Riley. Riley with Harrison waiting. Coming through the middle, Cleal, lovely pass from Poppy Cleal, Atwood, and they get it up for Abby Scott. Advantage is over. Scott stepping back, Burford on the outside. Looking to try and set Kelly Smith away on that wing. Kelly Smith, who's got her hair in bunches, and momentarily I keep thinking it might be Jess Breach, but she's not in the field.
She's not, she's watching at home though. She is watching at home. Brilliant play there. Abby Scott, I don't know why she didn't hit Kelly Smith on that. Kelly Smith has proved time and time again what a flyer she is. She has scored some unbelievable tries this season that she has had no right to score. One last weekend as well. So if I was her, I'd have been screaming for that ball. Lovely hands from Atwood as well to get into those wide channels.
Okay,
it's really starting to open up now.
Good discipline now.
What do you reckon, backs ball?
Was that a hope there, Emily Scarrett, that it might be backs ball? Abby Scott brings it down. England get a real shove on. Locke Davis is at the back, as she has been for a couple already. Goes down over the line. Is the ball on the floor? Referee says Canada have held it up. And you can see how happy the visitors are with that decision.
It was your player going to the ground to get the ball, and Aid held it up.
Cindy Nellis managed to get herself underneath that. Look at her, just sat there. That's a great shot. You've tried to score in my lap, and I'm not having it.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a try held up like that before in my life.
Me neither. What a treat.
Crouch!
What a treat.
Bind!
Right. Just too much movement. Okay. Your one's not ready either. Okay. Just hold that weight. Oh, I know she needs to get a better shape. So patience on the call now. Get some good shape now.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Plenty of pressure on England here. Coming in from the Canadian 8, and they are getting a decent shove. England are going to have to pick. Sarah Hunter does, down the short side. She's been buffeted back into her own players.
Away now, Red!
They go low again.
Stay.
Onside, Red, onside!
Sarah Hunter for the line. Just stopped short. England trying to roll their way around the corner. Cindy Nellis in there again, making the hits. Inch by inch, England patient enough. They know they've scored 3 like this, or in similar fashion at least. Russell trying to get herself out of the way. Under the left hand upright. Canada have defended several of these phases, and they're going to continue to try to do so. Referee well positioned. Will England consider the base of the posts? The ball
Has to be the base of the post. It was up here.
was in there.
It's an unplayable scrum to black.
There we go. You can hear the referee saying the ball was unplayable. Well positioned. I think England tried to score it halfway up the posts, which is not quite what you're meant to do.
But they said you had to touch the post.
Yeah, well, on the base of the post.
Yeah, it has to be at the base.
I think we should emphasise.
Again, really, really patient work from England. You can see that arrowhead formation, so they've got ball carrier, 2 people either side, so as soon as that initial impact happens, they've got 2 people to basically shove you through that contact, which is really, really effective and very, very difficult to defend. I know they've come sideways, but they've made quite a lot of ground every time they've done that. Great patience.
Set!
They've got McKenna waiting out to the right here with Millie Wood. If it's going to come back, it's a big shove again from Canada. England are not getting this their own way.
Through 90, reset.
It'll give Sandro Fiorino,
No,
the Canadian coach,
not for me.
some real confidence going into the next 3 games. Of course, they've got 4 games in 10 days, which I mentioned earlier. It's a tough whole schedule.
Through 90, I have to reset.
England A on Wednesday in Cobham. Then they play Wales next weekend at Cardiff Arms Park, and an early kick-off 11:30, and then Canada plays Scotland on the 27th. And of course, with the sort of funding that these teams get, internationally speaking, if you're making a tour to Europe, then you may as well knock off a few teams in the short spell that you might be there. So it'll be a real experience for them. But this their first test, and Canada get the penalty off England's scrum. It's a huge moment for them. After all that pressure and possession, they couldn't quite cope, and Hannah Bottoman has been adjudged to have not coped with it and collapsed. So Canada get the penalty. Question is, has Alex Tessier got the boot to get them to the touchline they need? Don't think she's going to worry too much about distance down the try line. She just wants to make sure she gets it over the whitewash. Plenty of air on it. Harvey's waiting for it to try and tap it back in field. There's a decision to be made here. I think we're getting some change as well. That will be Hannah Bottoman's last bit of input, which will not be the positive note she'll have wanted to end the match on. But Shauna Brown comes on, debuted in this match a year ago, the Harlequin. We've given her a couple of mentions. Darren Finlay at Quins has been helping with that transition from back row to prop. Little contemplative rub of the chin from Hannah Bottoman. She's contributed well in the rest of the game, just giving away 1 penalty. We shouldn't focus too much on. Some great carries.
Yeah, it's always what happens if it's the last, if it's your last involvement before you get subbed. It's really difficult to see past that. But she's had a fantastic game in the loose and really, really carried well, tackled well. So she should be really proud of her performance today.
Canada have nicked the line, or it was tapped back on an England side, but then Canada came through and took it. Quick ball away, but now it's in the hands of Abby Scott, who immediately sits Gabrielle Senft down.
Advantage over.
Poppy Cleal's taken a bit of a knock. Rachel Burford outward looks to try and use the feet. Combination in the midfield help. Marie Thibault. She is strong defensively. That's what she's been picked at 13 to do the job of, and Canada turn it over again. England have to release it. It's the sort of moment in the game, sort of momentum, that if Canada can start playing this sort of rugby at the other end of the field, well, anything could be possible in terms of the result of this game at the minute. And England haven't been in a position under this sort of pressure for quite a while. Worth saying, of course, they are still 3 tries to 1 to the good, but Canada putting up a good defensive fight. Mrs. Harvey will look to try and do players on the outside when she can. Sarah Hunter was very happy to flatten her on that occasion. Well, the ball was absolutely walloped away there from Anaïs Holly, perhaps unnecessarily. Wasn't the most sympathetic of passes. And in their own 22, Canada hand it to England. Cleal goes low, takes a couple of them on. Hunter for company.
The advantage over.
The advantage is over. They now come back to the left. Burford for Kath O'Donnell. Oh, O'Donnell was close, but she's in touch before she's over the line. Should it have gone for 1 more pass?
It looked a little bit like it from here, but we're a long way away from that bottom corner. It's breathless phases of play. Canada had the ball, England had the ball, Canada had the ball, England had the ball. That was really, really tough, and it takes players just to take one big last gasp of energy, give everything they have. We saw Poppy Cleo making a massive indent through the middle and all of that. Fantastic defence from Canada there on their try line. They are not giving up. We saw it with that scrum turnover, with that penalty. They are really, really digging deep now. It's all about mentality for them. It's all about just, taking pride in that shirt that they're wearing.
Don't sit on the fence, you should have straightened and passed. I'm sure Marley Packer will pick that up with her later.
So England make a change. Katie Daly-Mclean comes onto the field. Cap number 101 to go with all of her Dalmatians. Scored a brilliant try last week to cap off a wonderful evening against the USA.
She's been going on about it all week as well.
Has she? Just unstoppable, isn't she?
For me, it's perfect timing to bring someone like Katie Daly-Mclean on.
Do you think she might be on slightly earlier than perhaps they might have been planning?
Yeah, potentially, but I just think the game's lost a bit of momentum for England at the moment, so they just need somebody to get a foothold, kick the corners, make sure that the game management is right on top form, and there is nobody in the world better than game management than this girl at the minute, so really good substitution, really good timing for me.
Canada line out.
Step.
England have been told to get away.
In the 5.
Canada drive it away from their own line.
Yeah.
Holtkamp. The ball has been lost, and it's been lost forwards. Little smile from Brianna Miller. Well, now might be a chance for Katie Daly-Mclean to have a bit of an influence from that fly half channel. England with possession coming.
I imagine the first thing she's going to do is get the ball out to the backs, knowing Katie.
13.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see Kelly Smith go through on a bit of a line. She's been a real strong runner. Oh, the enforcements are coming now.
Well, they are. Poppy Cleal is making way.
Time out.
Coming onto the field is Jo Brown. Loughborough Lightning, former Darlington Mowden Park, joined this season, of course, switching clubs as did Katie Daly-Mclean. Also onto the field is Caris Williams, who's come on for Lucy Atwood.
Set.
Another one of the Loughborough Lightning stable, play the England under-20s, part of the England Sevens development as well. But here's Daly-Mclean and looks a little deeper for Burford, and Burford but it's been an interception. Canada streaking away. Elisa Allery always in such a good position, and the chase is on, and spurring her on. Kelly Smith making the chase, but Allery's going to get there, is she? What a brilliant breakaway try for Canada. Emily Scarrett, arm in the air like she was cheering home the 420 from Chepstow, hoping that Kelly Smith would make that tackle. She made up the ground.
She made up the ground, and that is a fantastic chase, but how smart is that finish? Just that little check at the end, that's all of Allery's experience. She might not have had the legs that Kelly Smith has. Just great reading of the ball there.
Well, you thought it was going to Millie Wood, didn't it? It looked to all intents and purposes a try.
Yeah, 100%. Allery just reads it so well. She's been around the game for such a long time. And here, as you can see, she can see Kelly come in. She knows that she's not got the legs, but then it's just that little stop, little go, checks Kelly. Both players are absolutely dying at that point, so that is a really, really tough and smart finish. And now we've got a game on.
It was a great foot race, wasn't it? Brianna Miller is the one who steps up to take this one. Swings the right boot. It's not going to quite get there, no matter how much she arches her back in hope. But indeed, game on. England 15, Canada 12. Elisa Allery's 16th try, taking her up to 80 points for country.
They're really, really tough blows to take those for the England side, because they were essentially doing everything right. They'd played it up front with the forwards, they'd worked the ball, they were now moving it into the wide channel, so they don't want to get too disheartened by that, because actually, in terms of what they were doing and what they were trying to achieve, it was exactly the right thing.
Well, actually, yeah, and you saw Katie Daly-Mclean combine with Rachel Burford in the build-up to that, which just looked vintage. It looked so comfortable, didn't it? Seeing those two combining together and then finding the ball out to the wider channels through McKenna. It looks on.
Red by red, first person.
But Canada have ripped the ball here. Red Roses really up against it now. The momentum very much with the visitors. It was with them. The momentum was with them in their own 22. They had a lot of territory to make up. Elisa Allery did that in about 10 seconds flat. England with it now, though.
Backwards.
Katie Daly-Mclean with the offload to Jo Brown, who loses it, but backwards, says the referee. So England have it. Kath O'Donnell. Riley. Daly-Mclean comes to the right side and calls for it. Wants to try and use a bit of the footwork. She's so powerful as well as a fly half. Has to be the leading 10 in the women's game worldwide these days. Katie Daly-Mclean. Riley pulls it back deep. Daly-Mclean drills it. Wants to pin Canada back a little deeper and allow England's defence to come forward. Allery just stepping away from Cornborough to begin with. But then getting Canada wrapped up in the tackle. Miller goes off to the right. Need the clearance to be made. That was a little better from Holly, but Daly-Mclean really well positioned for that. And then a great offload from the fly half as well, supported by a half-back partner in Leanne Riley, and then Sarah Hunter. And just a couple of phases involving Daly-Mclean that are giving England a little bit more go forward. Abby Scott onto Kath O'Donnell. Wants to avoid being isolated here. Penalty might be coming. Well, called it. And it was brilliantly won by Cindy Nellis.
Isolated 8, straight on the ball.
Lovely bit of play by England, really patient again, keeping hold of the ball. Great exit by Katie Daly-Mclean. I talked about her coming on the field for this game management now. Brilliant play by her, absolutely struck it as hard as she could down into the midfield. And then just a really good bit of play by Canada, getting over the ball, nice and strong. Couldn't be moved. England just need to make sure that they're sending numbers. Their tendency to get a little bit isolated at the minute. I think players are a little bit tired out there potentially, but fantastic steal.
So Kath O'Donnell leaving the field, and Yorkshire-born Zoe Aldcroft
8.
began her rugby at Scarborough. Her parents, Ros and Dave, and her brother Jonathan will be incredibly proud as she comes on, earning her 8th cap for England. And change being made for Canada as well. Tyson Bukaboom leaving the field, and Galula Fawamba makes her way on. Her only previous cap was in this match as a debutant years ago. Fawamba. Dalika Menin. Anais Holly scragged by Rachel Burford. Miller.
Go back.
Now looking to try and drag England wide into those 15-metre channels.
Move.
Committing to going the same way until they cuddle up right to that touchline, Canada. Oh, and then it's just gone forwards from Tessier. So England now have it. Riley pumps it straight back for Daly-Mclean, who kicks it downfield. Game management the key here. England know they're 3 points to the good on the scoreboard. Canada win it back. Tessier, crucial in there to help deter the England defenders there. Shauna Brown in, try and get herself in there and hold Canada up, but the referee calls it the tackle, so everyone's got to release.
Assist release. Stay on.
Down from Miller. Daly-Mclean has McKenna streaking up underneath this one. Good contest in the air. Canada have done well to hold on to possession here, and Now they're looking to try and use some room on the outside. Unsurprisingly, Slavinsky didn't back herself for pace against Millie Wood, but they've still made some decent yards. Tessier. Penalty England will be just the relief that they need.
We're going to keep going.
So England
Time off, 9.
putting it over to the far touchline.
Hold it for a second, we're still waiting.
They will look to try and build from there.
There's another player. 10.
Now,
10.
we're going to give you the chance listening, and watching I should say, of having a vote on the Quilter International's player of the match. We'll give you the short list of 3 selected by Emily Scarrett and Natasha Hunt in just a moment, as Abby Scott brings that down. Straight into things is Joe Brown. Off Daly Mclean. Fly half back in possession, releasing Rachel Burford out the back, who finds Millie Wood.
Good turnover.
Turnover is good again from Canada, though. They've been really good in certain situations at the breakdown. Fuamba with the fend on Marley Packer. That was worth the entrance fee alone. Bit of empty space kicked into Daly Mclean, well tackled by Svoboda. But it's a penalty.
20, roll away.
It's been given against Svoboda. Made her debut in this match a year ago. Well, let's just have a look at the shortlist of 3 then. Natasha, who've we gone for?
Leanne Riley, Abby Scott and Lark Davis.
Okay.
All 3 standout performances for me. Leanne has been so good, got around the field so well, challenged the Canadian kickers, defensively has been really sharp and has bossed the game, so fantastic play by her. Abby Scott and Lark, very similar, just put their bodies on the line time after time after time. Abby Scott's, some of her handling has been fantastic, some of their shots have been brilliant, and Lark Davis's line out work has been fantastic as well. So yeah, there are 3.
Those are the 3. Well, thank you. So get voting onto Twitter then. We'll have that for you. Hashtag send her victorious for our player of the match. Leanne Riley, Abby Scott and Lark Davis. Marley Packer is breaking and trying to send Rachel Burford through the hole. Burford gets in a good position to present the ball back. Aldcroft, England's bench, really hoping that they can provide the difference. Here's Shauna Brown, so strong, gets to within a couple of metres. Aldcroft's there again, looking to try and take that last few inches. Referee says that England are just short. They come to the short side. Riley on the wing, is it going to be the score for Kelly Smith? She had to be strong to avoid getting dragged into touch by Harvey. Smith gets England's 4th and might just give them a chance to sigh a breath of relief.
She might look little, but what strength that is to finish that try. I mentioned her earlier, said she's scoring tries that she has no right to score, and this is no different. Really wide pass, great hands by Rachel Burford, and for all money she should have been dragged into touch there. Absolutely fantastic finish. Kelly Smith, take a bow. She must be knackered as well after that chase back, so to still have that power in her legs after doing a length of the pitch from the opposite corner.
Yes, quite.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Well, I remember commentating earlier in the season on Gloucester Hartpury, and Susie Appleby's words were she's a powerful winger. Exemplified in that finish. Didn't have too many yards forward that she had to make, but to avoid that touchline and the strength of Harvey to try and drag her into touch was the impressive bit. And Daly Mclean has not made the sort of conversion attempt that is normally of her high standards. So 8-point game we have. England 20, Canada 12.
All also that pass from Rachel Burford, I mentioned it a few times how world class she is, her handling ability, but the ability to catch the ball, reaching for it, get that across with an on-rushing defender 2 metres from the line is just so difficult. So hats off to her as well. That's potentially her try. The wingers just get all the glory, don't they?
I'm going to have to sign her up for my touch rugby team, I think, Rachel Burford. Pretty handy, I think.
Such a good impact as well from players like Zoe Oldcroft, Jo Brown, Karis Williams, all these girls coming on fresh into a game that's, you know, really tight. It's a tough game to come into, and they've come in. Zoe Oldcroft in particular just carried the ball so well. It's crucial to that try.
Come in with real belief, haven't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Allery hoists it up, puts the pressure on Riley. Riley gets the call from McKenna on her shoulder. Pirouettes through the tackle, but Allery does bring her down. She's had a good game for Canada, hasn't she? Sarah Hunter. Just a reminder, those players on the shortlist: Leanne Riley, Abby Scott and Lark Davis for your player of the match. Get onto Twitter, we want your votes. You can interact with us on #CenterVictorious. Fuamba bringing down Burford. Riley coming through. Laura Russell looking to try and make the clear out. Sarah Hunter. Loughborough Lightning combination between herself and
tackle release, Red. No hands.
Katie Daly-Mclean, who just takes a little bit more depth here as Marley Packer gets set to play scrum half and feeder. It was a great feed if she was going to do a drop goal. Now Magali Harvey throws it back in field. What can Canada create from the back? Millie Wood has done really well coming in field to cut out any option of the pass there defensively from England. Otherwise Canada might have had a 4-on-2 perhaps. Riley, Brown, good offload from Jo Brown. Gets herself low as well to get out of the way of the next pass. Rachel Burford was on the shoulder of Sarah Hunter to give her the call, and then swatting away the tackle is Millie Wood. Couldn't quite go all the way. Riley though wants to go to the right. She was looking for her fly half, but Katie Daly-Mclean was the only one there. But that's a good mazy run from Sarah McKenna.
14, leave it now, you're not on the ball.
Gets the support. Allery has just stayed down for a moment. Hope that she's all right. Abby Scott, Burford, still in the thick of things. 80th cap for Rachel Burford. Just making herself ever present in the last 10 minutes to really rub it in to Emily Scarrett and Natasha Hunt that they haven't mentioned her as one of the players of the match. Fellow Rugby World Cup winner from 2014, of course, winning against Canada in the Stade Jean-Bouin Stadium. Lovely chip through. Burford's got a chase on this as well. It's just bobbling tantalisingly in front of the try line. Elisa Allery, incredible ability to have just held on to that. Avoided the on-charging England shirts. Laurie Josephson is on now for Canada. It's a decent box kick over the top, but again in position. Katie Daly-Mclean. McKenna just shrugs off one tackle. Now it opens up for Sarah McKenna. Comes back into the centre of the field to make sure England have got options left and right. Riley goes digging. Finds Daly-Mclean. Scott. Now they go through the hands. Sarah Hunter. Is it going to be another one for Kelly Smith? Just stopped short on this occasion. But England threatening for another. Daly-Mclean. Little step to keep the defence honest. Shauna Brown comes onto it. Brown twisting and turning.
Leave it, move.
Like before, she stopped a metre short.
Okay, stay where you are, 5.
Daly-Mclean has Burford out to her right. And they've told Millie Wood to get as far wide as they possibly can, but they're not going to need it out there because England get another score. It's try number 5. And for as well as Canada have competed, England will have looked to have sealed the victory with the score. Abby Scott looking like the scorer.
Yeah, brilliant work by Abby Scott, but again, Zoe Allcroft over the ball, adding the extra bit of power, really dragging her over the line. Fantastic play by her. And as Emily mentioned earlier, such an impact that she's made.
Yeah, she's been great since she's come on. She's so athletic, such a good rugby player, and just works so incredibly hard. A lot tougher, so tough for quite a young player. It's really good to see. The great thing for me is that came from England just turning the screw, applying pressure. Katie Daly-McLean putting that little grubber kick through, making Canada try and play out of their own 5-metre line. England have the scoreboard on their side, so it's the sensible thing to do. They squeeze Canada again, and it results in another try.
Voice of Emily Scarrett and previously Natasha Hunt with us for our live streaming coverage on englandrugby.com and the official Facebook and YouTube channels, and through Sky Sports Rugby as well. Sarah Hunter makes the carry out of the 22. England leading now by 27 points to 12. Katie Daly-McLean. Leanne Riley, I think, has made way for Claudia McDonald, who's earning her second cap on a talent transfer from netball. McDonald was playing in the back three for Darlington Moden Park Sharks last year, doing a decent job. Scott Beeman, one of those who had a look and thought she might make a decent 9. And she's on, plays her rugby at Wasps, but Canada with the ball, play it away to Ronnie Harrigan. Oh, that's lovely hands. Oh, commentators curse again. Slavinsky was the last one to try and hold it. It was nice, soft, quick hands up to that point. But England will have the scrum, and they'll happily see that it's ticking down through the last couple of minutes of the game.
Slavinsky's been really good for me today. Tackled really well, been great in the loose, and been a real link play between the forwards and backs. Such a good player.
Yeah, just earning her 4th cap for Canada. Another one who debuted in this game a year ago, former Calgary Saracen, also plays a bit of lacrosse.
Smart play as well there from Millie Wood. We've spoken about how she's not naturally a winger. We've seen her come out and make some big shots, applying pressure, not letting the Canadians get the ball to the edge, but there she knows she's numbers down. She knows she's got to back off. Let the Canadians take a bit of space, but just kind of shepherd them, make them move the ball to touch. Is really well managed.
Yeah, you wouldn't know this is her first game on the wing at all, would you, internationally? Great game from her.
Hold down.
Burford. McKenna. Wasn't the easiest ball for Smith to take. She was well met for the tackle.
Tackle!
England on their 22. Half a minute remain.
Go back, leave her.
Not the easiest ball for Katie Daly-McLean. And she chips it forwards. Sabrina Poulin.
Not held. Good turnover.
Turnover by England. That was really well done by Aldcroft. She's enjoying playing in front of her Yorkshire crowd, isn't she? McDonald is there, but Shauna Brown was happy to play scrum half. Katie Daly-McLean up to the halfway line. McDonald looking to the left. Lovely little soft ball back inside for Sarah Hunter.
Release red.
McDonald. Burford. Look to chip it through. Our clock has gone red, but we're on the referee's watch at this point. Canada looking to try and break again. Got to release it on the knee. Now they come back a little deeper.
Advantage.
Fitting that it might be Canada who are the last ones on the ball trying to put stuff together. Oh, that's really lovely from Svoboda. Great footwork from the replacement. And then Josephson wanted to show what she could do around the fringes. Rachel Burford's barely got the strength to get back to her feet, but she's still running and still making the hits.
Tackle!
Packers calling the numbers over to the far side. Canada have flooded about 4 or 5 down the 15-metre channel if they can get the ball there. Taylor Black is one of those onto the field, the Oakville Crusader, making her debut for Canada. Just back from the Youth Olympics.
Going back to the penalty.
Well, we put out the 3 names for the player of the match: Leanne Riley, Abby Scott and Lark Davis. And I am pleased to tell you that we have counted your votes and they have been verified. I'm saying that's happened, I'm not entirely sure, but with a brace of tries, the Quilter International's player of the match is England's number 2, Lark Davis. So many congratulations to Lark. Exemplifying the forwards effort.
Yeah, she really has done. Worked really, really hard around the park. She's been just fantastic. Her line-outs have been really strong this week as well, and just her work rate for me is so impressive. As a front row, I know sometimes I get a bit of stick for not running too much, but she's got around the park so well. She's added so much force whenever someone else has carried the ball. She's carried well. She's just been absolutely solid today, so thoroughly deserved for me. Well done, Lark.
So Canada still going into the corner. Can they get another score? Just a reminder, our clock is our best estimation. We don't get a clear timer on this one. So, oh, that's really good strength. Canada could be through for their second, or their third, sorry. Has the ball been placed? Sean Gallagher says it hasn't.
No, go back, Black.
Options to the right. Taylor Black.
You can't come over the line. Try.
Oh, and the try's been scored.
Yep.
Try has been given. Canada get their third. Referee was right on the spot to, well, I think he had to judge that inch by inch and say that England weren't able to do anything to stop the ball being on the whitewash.
Not really sure how that's managed to be a try from there. It doesn't look like it comes out of the ruck at all. So I'm not sure what's happened, but you could just see from the English girls' faces how disappointed they are in that. I'm not sure whether the time is actually up or not, but just they know that this game is potentially done. I think if this clock's right, then there is no time for the kickoff, and they're so deflated at the fact that they've let somebody over their line. So it just shows the will that they have to want to be better, to want to just nil teams.
Magali Harvey asked to step up for this one. She's changed her kicking style a bit. It used to just be one step back and then one thump through, but either way, the result is similar. Canada get the conversion, and it ends up being just an 8-point deficit in the end. They got it down to just 3 points midway through that second half, and have competed well. And as far as their position on the world stage, well, you have to say it's good to see them getting their way back into this. Make no mistake, England are missing many of their big players, plenty of their youngsters being given a good run out, and England scoring 5 tries in the process as well. But Natasha Hunt, overall, it's another victory for England, and it's more experience within the ranks.
Yeah, massively. I know they'll just be disappointed with some stuff that they dropped, and they just took their foot off the pedal a little bit at times where they could have really turned the screw, but brilliant performance. Their forwards were absolutely on the money, dominated them from start to finish. Backs, I know there's a little bit of work to do there, but it's exciting. When Kelly Smith gets the ball, I'm excited. When Katie Daly-Mclean is kicking it in behind, I'm excited. Obviously Lucy Atwood, first start, and played really well as well. So Millie Wood on the wing, absolutely solid. So yeah, it's definitely good things to come from this squad.
Yeah, really exciting. I think, second game into a campaign. We've spoken last week that they hadn't had a game in a long time. It was from the Six Nations, and they're building, they're giving players the opportunity to play that haven't played much. We're looking towards the World Cup in 2021, and these are all such valuable experiences. But just a little shout out to Canada. I thought they did really well tonight. I think they'll reflect back on this game and be really pleased. Obviously frustrated with lots of opportunities and perhaps chances missed, but actually they really tested England and they stretched them in many areas.
Let's have a look at the second half highlights then, for those of you just joining us. Of course, we just see a moment of England reflecting. Wonderful camera shot there of Simon Middleton as they just look down and allow the players the words. Sarah Hunter just having a word with the team there. Well, this was the breakaway try for Elisa Alarie. Canada, who got that score at the end of the first half, 15-7. And then Natasha Hunt, you like the stop-go here to make sure it went down.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant play. I reckon she's picked that up on the sevens field, where potentially the speedsters aren't as some of the girls aren't as quick as some of the speedsters, and just a brilliant finish. so difficult to defend when someone's got the corner flag angle on you like Kelly Smith has, and just fantastic, real awareness, shapes to go away from her, and brilliant dive into the corner.
You almost feel a bit sorry for Kelly Smith, having made all the effort to get there, to then be done in the last 5 minutes, because she is herring after her. Another 10 minutes and Kelly Smith's all over her.
Yeah, I think she's
10 minutes, 10 metres.
She's shown this whole season in the Tyrrells, and certainly in the first test against USA, her work rate is phenomenal. You'll rarely see her on her own wing. She'll be popping up on the other side of the field. She'll be popping up, offering options in and around the 10, and you know, really well justified here that she scores a try of her own. That one she only had to run in 5 metres, so she might have been a bit thankful for that one.
Yeah, she's Jack Noel-esque, isn't she? Just work rate. You always see her on the other side of the pitch, as Emily just mentioned, and really powerful. She doesn't look it, but I promise you, she's really real powerful winger. Scores tries that she really does have no right to score, and just a fantastic player.
Yeah, Magali Harvey doing her best to drag her into touch. You can just see in our picture-in-picture there, the England team supporting or thanking the fans. That was a great finish from Abby Scott to get over for England's 5th try. Close quarters stuff, and supported by Zoe Aldcroft, who was certainly one of the brighter lights when she came on.
Yeah, I thought England's substitutions all made a real impact when they came on. You know, it's exactly what you want from substitutes, and they potentially came on at a tough part of the game. You know, Canada had just scored that intercept try, and it was important that England got a stranglehold back on the game, got momentum, kept the ball, and you know, players like Zoe Aldcroft really made a huge impact.
So try is scored there. Courtney Holtkamp is the one who got the score, and that was the 3rd one from Canada. Referee right on the spot to see that one given. Conversion came from Magali Harvey, and 8 points between them. England 27 then, Canada 19, and I think Nathan Middleton has got some reaction for us down pitch side.
Yes, I'm here with the Quilter player of the match. Should be Lark Davis, ordered the bottle of champagne here. Lark, congratulations, 2 tries today. How difficult was that game out there though, for kind of grinding out the win?
It's a really tough physical game up to the 80 minute. You know, Canada really put it to us, and we had to find ways to score, and you know, we did that, and to come away with the win was massive for us, but we've still got lots of learning to do.
A real forward effort, especially in that first half with the kind of the pick and go tries. Is that something you've been working on in training, kind of the forward momentum? Yeah, absolutely, and you know, we've got to work as a pack, and I think we really did that today, especially on, you know, pick and goes and line outs. You know, we did really well to get over the line in the times we did. Last year there was 3 really big wins out of Canada, a real test today. Just in terms of them stepping up to the plate and kind of how difficult they were, how much of a test was it out there? Yeah, it was really physical. Really, we always know that they're going to be athletics players, and you know, they really brought it to us today. I think at times our discipline wasn't there where we needed it to be, but like I said before, we're on a learning journey, and you know, to get the win under our belts is really good. And to get it so close at one point when it was 15-12, and then to kind of pull away towards the end, it must be really good for you as a team in terms of confidence. Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got to take confidence from the times where we executed there. You know, there were times that we know that we could have been better, but I think to come out with a win and you know, to execute when we did was really important. Lark, congratulations on player of the match. Thank you.
Talking about the fact that, you know, there was plenty the team could still do better, and it's quite irritatingly mature, isn't it, really? Just want them to go, yeah, we won the game, but of course, building things to improve on. She had a good game, didn't she?
Yeah, she had a really good game. I think, you know, we spoke during the game about the big ball carriers that we have in that front row. Shauna Brown, Hannah Bottom, all of that. Lark isn't that player. She's probably not going to bust through 3 tackles and hair through the middle of the field, but what she will do is be really industrious, really pragmatic in how she goes about her basic skill set. You know, she'll handle the ball, she'll tackle players far bigger than herself and chop them immediately to the ground, and she's just a fantastic all-round player that will do a lot of the unseen work, a little bit Sarah Hunter-esque in terms of a lot of the work that she'll do breakdown-wise and things that perhaps you don't necessarily see so obviously.
Yeah, looking at that Canada team, obviously we saw a few of the big names stepping up. Elisa Allery, one of those who did it, but actually you got players like Jana Slavinsky, as you mentioned, the open side, just were earning her 4th cap for Canada today. Cindy Nellis as well, 17th cap at number 8, who was a real good influence there. It's good to see a nation like Canada. They're ranked 4th in the world, and we know that once you get beyond the sort of top 4 or 5 nations of women's rugby in the world, the standard can start to slip a bit. So the top 3 or 4 need to be at their best, and it would be good to see this Canada team coming back to that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think as I mentioned a few times, they just look so well drilled at the moment. They look really, really good. Everyone seems to be on the same page. They look like they know what they're doing. They know what they're trying to do as well, which was really promising, and I definitely think they'll be a force to reckon with in years to come.
Well, we can see England receiving their medals as they come through.
I think as well, if you compare Canada to these games this time last season, they've come a huge way. Yes, they brought some of their experience back, and naturally that's always going to help, but in terms of a lot of their inexperienced girls that came over perhaps here for the first time last season, they've come on so much, and it just shows, 2014 World Cup final, just, they've got it within them. It's just that time, and they've got 3 years now to build that.
Great scenes. 2 out of 2 for England so far. They will go on to play Ireland at Twickenham next week after the men's game. Smiles on faces and medals on chests. 2 wins out of 2 so far. How much recognition do you think there'll be from England that Canada were decent, or will they feel disappointed with their display? They've been so used to putting 40-50 points on teams.
They'll naturally be a bit of both. They'll be frustrated within themselves because they set such high expectations and such high bars for themselves in terms of their basic skill set and how they do things. But I think you have to acknowledge how good Canada were today. We spoke about how much better they were than they were last season, and you have to give them credit for that. And England will definitely do that. They understand, the prospect that they came up against today and how tough a challenge that was.
Okay, and I think we can hear from the England head coach. Simon Middleton is with Nathan Middleton pitchside.
Pitchside with Red Roses head coach Simon Middleton. Simon, a real test match today. How difficult was it out there for your side?
Yeah, it was really, really tough. Canada brought exactly what we knew they would do, which was physicality and a good engine that kept going right to the end. And obviously, they got a well-deserved try at the end to add on to the 12 points they already had. And they play a good offloading game, so they're getting behind you. They ask lots of questions, and we answered most of them, to be honest, in defence. But they just got us at the end.
In terms of a test for your side, though, and a kind of a real hard battle, from a coach's point of view, were you almost pleased that you've had that, a real kind of a hard quality opposition?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're sweating it when you're up on the gantry, but really, you're thinking, this is exactly what we need. And I thought there was, we give a lot of ball away, which made it hard for us in the first half in particular. But amongst it all, there was some really good performances. I thought the forwards were outstanding. It's an adage, isn't it? An old adage, but we're very much a work in progress. And I think the experience that we had in the pack against the inexperience we had in the backs showed today. And the young ones will learn a lot from this. The test newbies will learn a lot from it. But that's when you need your seniors to stand up, and Rachel Burford stood up, and Katie Mclean stood up when she came on, and I thought our captain was absolutely outstanding. Really pleased. Talked about squad effort, and the finishers who came off the bench were great. Joe Brown, fantastic. Had a really good game. Shauna Brown. Amongst what was a tough performance, and probably one not as comfortable as we want, there was still some really good individual performances.
A Yorkshireman in Yorkshire, bringing his team to Yorkshire. How kind of the crowd and the day? It's been a beautiful day to play some rugby as well. It's been a really positive day all round, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I think I'd be lying if I didn't say it. We're preying on my mind a little bit, because sort of 55 minutes into the game, we haven't really shown anything what we are about as a team. We'd gone to what we need to do to win, which is play through the forwards. But we don't want to be a pick and go side, and we don't want to be a catch and drive side. We want that to be in our armoury. But we tried to open the game up when Katie came on. She tried to open the game up, and we showed some good touches. And we actually got into a bit of a groove, and I was really pleased because I wanted the crowd to see a little bit more about what we're about, and they saw that, and they got a bit excited towards the back end, and so I was pleased with that.
Simon, congratulations today, well done on the win.
Well, Simon Middleton there, it's almost as if, he says they don't just want to be a pick and drive side and a catch and drive side, mentioning the work that Katie Daly-Mclean came on, almost suggesting that the fans here, he brought her on to make sure that there were a few back moves played out on the field of Castle Park.
Yeah, look, Katie Daly-Mclean, we speak so often about her. She's a fantastic player. She brings her whole skill set to the party, but what she's really good at is making everybody else look good, and that often includes the back line. the forwards were pragmatic in what they did and how they went about their work. And sometimes you've got to catch and drive, and sometimes you've got to pick and go and all that sort of stuff. But obviously Simon's alluding to there that he feels like there's much more to England than that, and today was perhaps an opportunity where he wanted to showcase that a little more. But sometimes you've got to put your head down and win games, and England have done that.
Yeah, they certainly have. The sun has just disappeared behind those trees, so it's getting very cold. So a quick word on England taking on Ireland next week, because Ireland, a bit like Canada a year or two ago, were a side that were really right up there, and they've fallen away a little bit. How much of a known quantity or unknown are they for England at Twickenham next week?
Yeah, well, obviously we face them every year in the Six Nations, so we know what's coming, but every Ireland side is different. Girls coming in, girls coming out, and I know that they always absolutely love and cherish playing England. It's always a massive battle, it's always hugely physical, but also backlines going against each other. It'll be such a good test for the girls. Obviously the new girls coming in, but also those experienced heads, so I'm sure it'll be a different challenge again.
Yeah, well, if you're at Twickenham next week, or you have the opportunity to get along after the England men's game, then do go and support them against Ireland. Emily, Natasha, thank you very much indeed. Enjoy that one?
Yeah, always.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Good, great to have your company. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Coming up, of course, we've got the Tyrrell's Premier 15s all the way through to the end of January. Some trophy final game, Champions Trophy games, and the Green King IPA Championship as well. Great to have your company. Thank you very much for watching on whichever platform you have chosen to do so. We're going to go and get warm, and we'll see you again very soon. From all of us here at Castle Park, England winning 27 points to 19 against Canada. It's a very good afternoon.